I will roll. Where are we going? What did we want to save for last? I think it was Miami I wanted to save for last. Usually we do the alerted ones, but I feel like we shouldn't warm up with that, so... Mumbai, Dubai, Isles of Scale. Yeah, I guess we'll do a classic Dubai. Lockpick. Remote explosive and a taser. No need for the taser. I can bring the banana. Nico's girlfriend. The half alien is Nico's girlfriend? What in the... Yeah, what are we taking? We're taking a sick car or a wicked bike. Or we could take the plane. A chopper. Or we could take the boat. You want the bike? Bike it is then.
Safe journey,
Burn. You got scammed? Oh, what? It was cut short? What happened? It just abruptly ended.
Welcome to the sector, Dubai. Intel tells us that there are Syndicate members in the area. I trust that you can find them and eliminate them. Be careful.
What the hell am I?
And most of all, good luck.
Paperfly! That's when I was 47, yeah. Paperfly! We're trying to go by. High up in the sky. Can't you lean against this? What'd you say to me? What'd you say to me? Is he a Honda or something? Is he gonna shoot me? Volda? Monk W. What am I vaulting? Or rather, what am I vaulting into? Flamingos, they can fly, right? I'm so scared it's gonna alert the whole compound if I do it. Do it. Well. Oh shit. Wait, what is the point of this? You can't even go anywhere. I think I can fly, so it's okay. Ah, okay, we're cool then. We're cool then. 47 will be fine. Crime noticed. Oh. I'm sorry, man. I just wanted to fly. Be free like a bird. Hey, guys.
Hey, man. Mission on Tango!
Oh man, where'd he go? Holy shit, what happened? Stop hanging! That's illegal right there. Get over here, you filthy criminal. Stop hanging. Yeah, apparently hanging is illegal in Dubai. What the fuck, man? You know, we were about... we easily could have died there and thrown the whole campaign. Like, yeah, we made it to the last bit, and we just have these final missions, final 5 missions left. But it all could have been over right there, because we were messing around, trying to hang out. But I mean, I didn't know it was illegal. I didn't know it was illegal to hang out as a flamingo.
That actually is pretty funny.
What the hell? Stop hanging. That's punishable by being hung. What the fuck? You're gonna kill me. You're gonna kill me by the crime that I committed. Can I have the screwdriver?
Yeah.
Wait, is it the technician guy in here? I mean, no, it's the technician guy and someone else. Who the fuck is that guy? I don't think there's a guard allowed. Bum ba dum ba dum. Bum ba dum ba dum. Bum ba dum ba dum. Wait, I don't want to use the gun. I've learned my lesson from yesterday. Never shoot anyone in the head that's a target, because fucking there's a chance there might be a T-1000, so I'm just gonna throw the screwdriver at him. Oh, stab him, I guess. That works too. Just don't miss.
Excellent work, 47.
It's not even that. It's like I shoot him in the back of the head, but they just get right back up. Fucking T-1000s over here. Yeah, more Hitman. Because we gotta at least see if we can finish this campaign from yesterday. Oh yeah, sounds like a good idea. Sounds like a good idea, Gov. Make it green, just like the OG slime was. Yeah. Let's let this guy in here. Actually, let's go see what this guy's for sale first.
Hi. You need anything?
Hey,
Sure, I've got it.
we're both repair people.
Appreciate it.
Collect doesn't lockpick my ass. Got a silenced Uzi? That crowbar. Oh wait, that's a collector's crowbar. Jesus Christ, man. If only I didn't leave a crowbar behind last night.
Come back if you need more.
15k, that's it's fine. I mean, I already have a crowbar, it's okay. I want my normal crowbar from yesterday that I accidentally abandoned because of what went down in China. What went down? We don't talk about that. We don't talk about what went down in China. Nah, I'll tell you what went down in China is that I had my professional screwdriver, which we did basically this whole campaign with, and then when we went to China, I bought a crowbar. You know, not the collector's crowbar, but just the basic ICA crowbar, whatever it's called. And I bought that, and then and that was also a showdown mission as well in the China. But what happened is that I tried to lure 2 guards. It was at like that hobo experiment center thing. It was at like the entrance. Not at the entrance. I don't know what that area is. It was near the arcade store, near the hobo center. And then we tried to lure 2 guards, but one of the guards got stuck. Like, I lured the first one, but he just got stuck. And he just stood still and kept staring at the crowbar and wouldn't move. So I knocked him out and tried to drag him away, but while dragging him away, his other guard friend saw me. And then, the moment he saw me, that's when one of the potential targets showed up. And he had an assassin nearby. So I just panicked, pulled out my gun, shot all 3 of them, and ran. And luckily that potential target that saw me do all those illegal things, that was actually the correct target, luckily for me. So I just fucking legged it. I just ran out of there. I just got the fuck out of there. And well then, in the process, I left behind my crowbar that I just bought. And my professional screwdriver that we did this whole campaign with. That screwdriver is actually the reason why we made it this far. But yeah, in all that panic, I accidentally left the screwdriver and the crowbar behind. That's what went down in China. And luckily, the assassin didn't snipe me. I was fucking running away like a crazy person. The snipe with lethal throws. Yeah, I learned my lesson from that. Now I'm just gonna throw shit at all of them. I'm not gonna try to shoot them now. I learned my lesson. If I have any lethal things, I'm just gonna throw that.
Ooh, someone's all kitted out.
Don't want to be on the CCP hit list.
Yeah. Why?
Just wondered if you got the briefing on the lockdown. The Royal Highness's guest has requested no noise of any kind.
But it means I'll work slower.
I don't care what tempo you work.
It will be slow. And I'll probably get a warning.
Swipe our cards and bingo. Lockdown.
What if the other guard is
Wait,
using back?
where's this
Well,
person?
it's time. So if that should happen, I should be able to run down and activate.
Oh, is that the helipad?
But I guess that will need a little practice.
Happy to not be at work tomorrow. Sounds like a lot of running around.
It's what we're paid to do.
Yeah, and it'll probably never happen.
You got an assignment in Dubai. Some bald dude. Wait, what? Excuse me. Wonka. Might want to check the back of his head really quick, just to make sure he doesn't have a tattoo back there. Oh my god, it's the pilot. Pew.
Syndicate member eliminated. Well done, 47.
I don't really know where to put this guy. I think he's just. I think I could just leave him and he'll be fine. Come over here though. Tattoo. Bald glasses, loves fish. And tattoos on the list of tails. Oh. Does he also have an interest in flamingos? Monk W. He also fascinated by flamingos. Jesus Christ, man. It sounded like the whole building just collapsed.
Get back to the safe house. I'll be in touch.
It just says furry. Oh. Well, I guess that's as it works. I guess that's pretty similar. Just shape thing. Flamingo enthusiast furry. Alright, solid warm up. Oh, yo, I like that title. Flexible murderer. Race I ran my Bobo 16. Flexible murderer. Murderer. There has been a murderer. There's a flexible murderer on the loose. Yeah, when do you want to die? I can do Monday or Friday, anytime you want. Pretty flexible, you know, so yeah.
Excellent work.
Give me a time and date,
47. Let
and I'll
me know
fit
if
it in the
you're
schedule.
I'll be waiting.
Yo, that's a sick title. Overly large blue fursuit. Yeah. That fits. That fits the description. Yeah, I'll do this one because this one's full. Silent sniper kill. And the assassin no firearms. Yeah, that ain't happening. And he picks it up. Remote EMP charge. Ooh, it's a tripwire. Yeah, I guess it's fine. Then I can bring the banana. I don't have a silent sniper. Wait, this is silence? Wait, how is this silent? Wait, how is this silent? It says suppressor. Doesn't look like there's suppressor on it though. 32% and like a hop at park. Almost halfway. It is silent. What? How is this silent? You really want to bring this though? You really want to bring this? I wouldn't mind it. What did I get rid of? I get rid of the tripwire, right? Yeah. Yeah, why not? Let's see what we can do with this. More like almost heard. Yeah. Wait, I don't even need this anymore. Oh, I mean, it could be fun to use. Bring the gold guns. I would bring the gold pistol if I had it. If I already lost that. Let's take the car this time.
Safe journey, 47.
Bring silver ball is dead. No, that one is staying on the wall. I'm sorry. No, I'm not bringing that silver ball. It's a precious gun. My precious item. You got him? Yeah, that was... I got that maybe during the long 11-hour Hitman stream.
Welcome to Mumbai. We have
I
been
do have
informed
the
that
silver
Syndicate
ball.
is currently in operation here.
One of
You know
them.
what to do. Be careful, 47.
I don't have all 3 of them. Just one of them. Supposed to be unlocked at a really high level? Really? Well, I guess I'm just hacking as usual. Is that, I mean, it is called silver ball. Maybe it's a different kind of silver ball or something. How did I get it? I don't know. I think I found it in a box? Or something? I don't know. I don't remember.
Just hiding in there now?
You know what the fuck? Sugar cola refused to come down.
Seems rather silly. It's a big opportunity for him. Sure, Vanya Shah is a little scary, but
I'm sure he has his reasons. He told us to stay without a doubt.
Those 2 are in the thing. Building us under construction. This is the guy.
Long time no see.
But it's just one that I have. I'll have all 3 of them. It's just one. He's in that shop.
Coach Milaka, did you have any luck?
Record Mastery 100. What? That hasn't even been out for a week yet. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Absolute insanity. Have they just been playing non-stop since Friday?
The new foreman looks to be a
That is crazy, man.
Oh no, that's not.
Oh, he's one of those
I was up there in the
cleanos.
office when he came in. One of the guards told him that the slum queen wanted to talk to him. The guy dressed all crazy on his family.
Yeah, next level hacker bands. I really wonder what they have been doing. Have they just been like playing 24/7 since it came out or something? That is insane. That is crazy. I mean, yeah, it probably does. It probably does get more XP. But still, that's still fucking crazy. That someone's already gotten 100. Oh, banana. Absolutely crazy, man. And yeah, I mean, getting all the challenges, like I said, yeah, yesterday, all those challenges. Not like really challenges. It's basically just, you know, play the game a lot. Play the game a lot. Play the game a whole bunch, man. Wait, did I still? I do still have it. Hold on, can we do something funny here? That did not reach at all.
What on earth was that? Would you mind finding out? Yep, understood.
Well done.
It did get him.
Be a blow to the Syndicate.
Nice. Get up. I saw the thing. Can I not get up again? Hold on. There we go. Oh, shit, man, that had to be so frame perfect specific. From Ghost Mode 100 wins. Exactly. Yeah, like I probably would have cared about the challenges if it was that, like, hey, do this like one unique thing to this one target, or to this one syndicate member one time or something. And I would have been more interested in it. Yeah, I mean, it's just a bit boring when it's just Yeah, just play the game a lot. It's a bit boring, not the most exciting for me.
I understand that the super rich have money and they can do pretty much whatever they want to.
Hey, you look like you might need something. I only sell good merch.
Sure.
Oh, well, there's a short ball. Speaking of the silver ballers. Hey, he has my crowbar. My crowbar from China. Golden sword off. How much is this? Go. And then give me my crowbar back.
Don't hesitate to come back. I'll be here.
Hey, you. You need anything?
Man, I'm way too packed right now.
Spice up your life. Get your spices here.
I know.
Oh, he said spice up your lies. What?
Taxi, taxi, let's go, sir.
Spice up your lies.
Maelstrom left Mumbai.
Gotta go in 1 or 2 hours. No. You might miss it. If we make it to the end. Who knows? Time to speedrun.
I don't know. I need the money.
I think that guy's gonna be the most difficult one. Hmm.
And now he says he wants to stay. I mean, I hate to ask. Mind if I touch you?
Measuring tape. Okay, hold on. Let me. No, no, not the measuring tape. Wait, stop. Hold on, let me make sure. Where is everyone here? Everyone's downstairs. Okay. Muffin booze. That sounds goofy. What? What is that? I don't even know what muffin boost is. Is that my target that checks that out? If so, that'd be very convenient. And it's not.
Well, this looks like no problem.
Oh my god, that was so silent. That was silent, the most silent crowbar. Speedrun is lofted. The hell? I had never heard about that before. Rip the muffin strat. Rip the muffin boost.
Fix. Fixing. Why the hell am I talking to myself?
Syndicate member.
Okay, he wasn't too
eliminated.
difficult after
Well
all.
done.
Since that was just that fuse box that made everything easy. I need to remember my thing here. Wait, they're bringing it back? They're bringing the muffin boost back? Hmm? That's pretty cool.
Greetings, sir.
That's nice of them, since, I mean, yeah. This game is pretty speedrun popular. Hey man, you never seen a flamingo before? Oh, I see. Well, that's nice. That is nice of them. That they're actually keeping the speedrun strat in. No, well, putting it back in. To accidentally removing it. Hmm. Does he? Where are the stairs here?
So, you understand how the signal works?
All I know is what you told me. Powder from the hideout goes in the kiln inside the metal shop. Colored smoke goes up. That's it.
Alright, easy enough. And he'll let us know when we need to use it.
Sounds good to me.
Alright then.
I want to get up in that sniper tower. Oh my god. Do we even have line of sight of them? Are these guys gonna hear me when I shoot this? I'm terrified of that.
Do it!
I'm terrified that these guys are gonna hear it. Oh, is she just right behind that? Oh. Yeah, she's behind the curtain too. Do it. It's a concrete wall. This one, we have a higher chance of sniping, I think. Oh, do we? Is that another concrete wall? Or is it just a curtain? Patience. that's a person. No. Yeah, no, I can't. Hey, okay. Put it back in the briefcase. It was worth a shot. Couldn't quite do it though. It was like a concrete wall something in between. That would have been amazing though. That would have been amazing if we actually could have snapped her for that. I guess the apartment buildings. That would be like another vantage point, right? Maybe. Although I don't think so. That tower probably was the best. But
Sure, it's Hitman. My cousin lives in New York, and he went to a show.
He's a traveling salesman or something. Those suitcases could just contain the product.
Very doubtful. I've been hearing a lot of strange noises coming from this spot. Sniffing around at night, and I'm pretty sure he's doing other things in the building. At least he's only here for a few days.
is he here?
I suppose
Yes.
that might be.
He is a celebrity after all.
Oh my god. Picking everything up out my briefcase. I mean, I guess I could check with his sniper first. If there's line of sight of them. Nah, no, this is like even worse. That guy went a little bit more to the left. We could actually get him. So you're in the way. I don't want to snap your neck. I want to get my own sniper rifle. Yeah, no way that's happening. This guy went a little bit more to the left. What if we do this? He didn't give a fuck about that. Yeah, no, we're gonna have to go over here. Was that guy just sitting on the ground?
Final warning, buddy. You leave here and you don't.
Yeah, can't let you through. Sorry, sir.
Alright, I'll find my own entrance.
This is supposed to be a construction site, right? Public kidhar hai?
I heard Mr. Dawood sent somebody to dig a swimming pool while the filming goes on.
Fuck you, man. Swimming pool my ass. You know what the problem is? We just can't get proper water there.
Kinda wanna do this from that side over there. Yeah, you know how to enter from that side. Don't remember who, where, and where to go from this side. Oh, okay. I thought I was gonna fill the briefcase, but the wrench works too. Hello, I work here. I mean, if I climb that, I can't take the briefcase with me. Could just take this guy out. I thought that way he's probably just gonna become an issue later. Oh. While we're here. Right, so where's our friend? Over there now.
Is the fan good to go? I know they're still trying to find the right lines for the shoot, but in case they do, we need to be ready with the deck.
You bet. I had to hack the control to power out.
Can't get it. What a tease.
Anyways, keep calm, sir. That is so disrespectful.
I already used my bomb, god damn it. Hmm.
I'm not surprised. Cheap bastard. I'm hitting a jar joint in my room. You wanna join? We could hit the town. To that.
Oh, hey, yo, thanks, man. Thanks for holding the door for me. Wow, he didn't even see the guy. He didn't even see the guy I just knocked out. His friend right behind him. Hey, what you get? Anything useful? An iron or a fucking barber razor? Sure, give me that. That as well while we're here. Now let's see. Can we lure this guy in here? We probably can. Lure him in here with some soda cans. Oh, you're about to be like cams? Hello? Are you not gonna get the cams, Leo? What the fuck?
Interesting.
Fucking throw it! Jesus. Hey. And then I bought the sniper and fuck, what a cheesy way to get the sniper kill. Oh. That way we're sure he's dead too. Being no T-1000 on my watch. But he had a gun of his own? What the hell? Well, the closet is filled up, I'm sorry, so you're just gonna have to lay on the cold floor. The closet is already full of bodies. Thank God she's right here and not like up all the way up on the top floor.
I guess you must really like the view. It's good for the bottom as well, you know.
How the hell? Sniper from all the way back here. Hold on. If I vault this, where can I go? Oh, I can climb down. Yeah. We found our escape route. Throw this over there in the bush. I don't even think I can get it now, but whatever.
Well done.
Smooth.
This will surely be a blow to the Syndicate. Return to the safe house. Collect yourself. I'll be in touch.
What? You motherfucker! Wait.
デンジ、お前も好きだったの？
何のつもりだ?
Wait, what? I didn't even see what was in the picture. Was it me climbing through the windows? Let's see, can I even get my thing back? I threw it in the bush. No, it's out of reach now. Game over. Yeah, that's my crate. That's my briefcase. Give it back, Mother Nature. No, come on now. Have a banana too.
Okay, I heard that.
Hey, can you go tell someone to get the briefcase?
Curious.
Yeah, can you go tell a guard? It's a briefcase, man. Go find a guard to get it. Start the game over. Buy a new PS5. Make a new PlayStation account. Make a new Twitch. Fucking fresh start. Buy a new house as well. Buy a new internet. Buy a new router. Everything. Move to a new country. Go back to school. Change your name. Get a new social security number. Fucking everything, man. Complete fresh start. You fucked up in Hitman. You lost your briefcase. Oh man, I'm sorry. Game over. Okay. Yeah, rip the briefcase. At least I was only a sniper. A rare sniper, but it's fine. Not like we use snipers that often anyways. Die and fucking get reborn again. Black cat. Oh shit, man! I unlocked modern art. Jesus Christ, I unlocked so many things. Ding.
Good work back there. The Syndicate took a serious blow, but there is still much work to be done.
Check.
Recuperate and prepare
Yeah,
for
someone's
your
ringing your doorbell. Right, so now I have this one too. I just bought this one on the mission, but yeah, the one that I had already is this one. The silver ball. This is one I have already. Pew, pew. And now we have this one too, the short ball. Now all we need is the gold ball. And we got our crowbar back. Fucking pog, dude. Bronze baller. Yeah, man, where's the bronze baller? We got silver and we got gold baller. What happened to the bronze one? Where'd that one go? Where'd the bronze baller go? That's Sapienza, I think it is. Oh yeah, wait, posters here. The only good target is a dead target. Disguise for the job you want, not for the job you have. One tap to rule them all. A good day's work ends in a boom. Death is in the detail. Harder, better, faster, Paul. I like the death one. Excuse me, does this smell like chloroform to you? Why take the elevator when you can climb? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I like that one. Execution is the key to success. Caution, slippery floor, please proceed. Yeah, it's exactly, that is what you've been saying. You're right, I should start taking all the shots. Because you never know, man. You never know, it might actually work. No. I wish 100% of the shots I do take as well. Too real. Where? What the fuck is music, man? Yeah, you got that XCOM meme. Feels XCOM, man. Missing the 99% shot. Classic XCOM. What the fuck are half of these paintings that I'm looking at? You like the music? Yeah, music is pretty good. Jesus Christ, and let's go again. Wait, no, I don't want that. Nope, I did it again. Looks like a Death Stranding painting. People talk. Miss. Rip. Yeah, where's the seas painting? Oh wow, perfect. That's what started playing now. Where's the seas painting when I need it? This is not paintings. No. The seas painting from that Danish house. Oh. What the fuck is this? I don't want any of these, if to be honest. I don't want any of these, to be honest, but I mean... What else did I unlock? I don't know. We can check it, but hold on. We gotta do something else first. That is so funny. Exactly. He's got the binoculars. Peepers. He's not putting them on his eyes, though. Yeah, I know, right? For some reason, he's putting them where his mouth is. I don't think he knows how binoculars work. He's trying to eat them for some reason. Especially from this angle. Then it looks like he's trying to eat it. Exactly. He's trying to fucking go full on hag on the binoculars. You don't put the binoculars in your mouth, Agent 47. Have you never used binoculars before? Come on, man. That's such a nice view, though. Nom 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 nom. Delicious binoculars. Nom 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 nom. I don't know. What else was it that I got? We looked at that, we looked at the paintings, we looked at the posters. Oh, that's all we got. Alright. Continue then. Where are we? Like halfway. Grab the banana while I'm here. Sabians. I don't know which one to do. We're saving Miami for last. I don't know which one of these to do though. I was a scale sapienza. Flipping the coin on this. Tails. Oh, tails it is. The coin has spoken. The coin has spoken. Sapienza it is then. You and your sniper rifle kill games. Games? Call it. Oh shit, he's here.
Yes, sir?
I'm looking for Llewellyn Moss.
Did you go up to his trailer?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say he's at work. Do you want to leave a message?
Where does he work?
Where does he
I
work?
can't say.
Where does he work?
Sir, I ain't at liberty to give out no information about our residents.
Where does he work?
Where does he work?
Did you not hear me? We can't give out no information.
Where does he work?
Sir,
But like, where does he work though?
I can't say.
Yeah, where does he work?
Have a good trip.
Do you want to leave a message?
Where does he work?
Sir.
Where does he work?
Where does he work?
Leave into the tip. The loading screen tip.
Welcome to Sapienza. The Syndicate is
Oh my
currently
God.
operating in the area.
They
Find
gave me the
them
tower
and
spawn.
eliminate. However, this is no walk in the park. They are on high alert, so you need to be careful. Be careful, 47.
I mean, yeah, this is a walk in the tower. Come on now. Silly Diana. Wait, can I snipe this guy from here?
That actually is pretty funny.
Where's my binoculars? Did he finally realize someone's trying to shoot him? I could snipe that guy. Oh my god.
Well done, 47. This will surely be a blow to the Syndicate.
Holy smoke, man. He's fucking... Jeez, this guy's going ham on that cigarette. There was so much smoke in the air. A faint smell of weed from upstairs. Fucking hippie up there. I think that was yesterday, early on in this campaign. When we also had Sapienza. He was one of the Syndicate members. Pretty funny. Oh, the boys are here. Okay, I know, right? I was like, really? Are you serious? Okay, one of the Syndicate members is the hippie. That's amazing. Hey man, I'm just a security guy. Don't come in here. They'll teach him from turning to a life of crime. Consuming cannabis. Ah! Get him, boys. Okay, send the most elite assassin. Oh, Hitman. Get him.
FBI, open up!
Go get him, boys. And then just the close up of Hitman. Can we try this again? I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I was never here. Tree's bulletproof, apparently. Yeah, we could try and go to the top again and try. Oh my god.
Excellent.
It actually worked. Paw.
Spread fear within the Syndicate.
That tree was actually bulletproof. Now get me the fuck out of here before this whole tower gets swarmed by guards again. Wait, I'm not allowed in the ice cream store. Alright, time to go to church, boys. Have the Munka bless.
Huh.
Okay. Munka bless. Father, I have sinned 2 minutes ago. Just 2 minutes ago, I murdered 2 men in cold blood. Wasn't personal though, it's a contract. Forgive me, Father. The priest! It's just like, oh, WM. No, give me a minute. Just give me a second, son. He just calls the cops. Yeah, he's just sitting there noting it down. Oh, he just has like a... turns on the voice recorder on his phone. Recording the guy's confession. Yep, going to hell, just you wait. Now this will be funny if this works. Oh. Hey, priest boy.
Hell yeah.
He's not gonna sit there and pray all day, right? My buddy Doom guy lives there. He lives in hell. Yo, I can't wait to see him. Oh no. Fuck! I was afraid that was gonna happen. Oh no! What happened? Oh my god, that fire extinguisher just blew up. Holy shit, man. Fuck, your shit's crazy. Oh. Wait, is he just going back to praying now?
Check every square inch. Move, move.
Oh, Mr. Gardner.
Hi there, bodyguard.
Hi, it's, you know. You fucking serious right now? Man, that's like something out of a fucking comedy right there. Of course, this guy comes over here to take a piss in the corner. And I'm about to blast that guy over there. Could you hurry up, sir? I was kind of in the middle of something. Go wash your hands. Thank you.
Syndicate member
Wait, no one
released.
noticed it?
Well done, 47. Return to
What?
the safe house. Collect yourself. I'll be in touch.
He still hasn't been seen or spotted. No one noticed the praying guy. This guy. No one noticed the guy that was praying at the grave. He still hasn't been noticed, by the way. Finally. Took your time. That was really clean ICA assassin. Oh well, I'll take it.
Impressive work you did back there. I'm ready when you've prepped the next assignment.
Two more, yep. Isles of Scale time. I was saving Miami for last. Proximity concussion. You can watch till the end, park. Yeah, hopefully. Show me this one doesn't take forever. I mean, they have the crowbar, the lockpick, pills. I guess a bomb would really be the only other thing.
Safe journey, 47.
Got like 45 minutes.
Welcome to the Isle of Scale. We have been informed.
47 minutes.
But you know,
I see. You see what you
don't
did there.
disappoint, 47. Good luck.
What the fuck? It's one of the big boys. One of the higher ups. That ain't no way I sniped that guy from all the way down there. I mean, no way. Ain't no way. Do it. I know he's moving. Oh wait, there's. Did I even have line of sight on him? I think I did when he was over there, but now I don't. That was too slow. Yeah, because he's like down at the pier, right? Yeah. Wait, there's a window here too? The hell is that thing? That was so loud, huh? Yeah, what does this take here? Oh, it takes you down there. Hmm. I got the crowbar, right? Yeah.
Why, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you died only yesterday.
Get the gas grenade. Well, we'll save the boat boy for last. Let's see here. So yeah, she's one of the big boys. And then where is this guy? Yes, I can. Oh, he's all the way down the crypt. Oh wait, this is not. This is not where I thought it was. Oh, free hatchet. Is this guard allowed up there? I don't remember if it's a different type of guard or not. I guess we'll find out. See what this guy has for sale, though. You don't have a lot of money.
You there? You need anything? I might just have what you need.
If you insist.
He has that golden sawed off shotgun again. Yo, yeah, I can get my screwdriver back. Park.
Just come back if you need more.
That legendary screwdriver we lost yesterday in China. Kojima, yep. Now, how the hell do I get up there again? Isn't it over here? Yeah.
Fallout, nuclear winter, it all just feels...
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. Why was that in red? That scared me. You have been recorded by security. Yeah, you know. Yo, why is the door open? Wait, why is the door open? Is it supposed to be closed? Up.
Have a consequential evening, sir.
Oh, fuck, I don't have a key card. Hey, boys, I lost my key card down there. I forgot it back at home. Can one of you guys open it for me? Thank you. Oh my god, why are you going for smoke right now, sir? Oh my god, why is everyone going for fucking smoke right now? Bunch of smokers, man. Feels cancer, man. Yeah. Don't you know smoking kills? Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Get out of here. I mean, I'm allowed up here. That guy's an enforcer, though. Is she also going for a smoke right now? He comes all the way over here, right? If so, then this will be funny. Attack.
Syndicate member eliminated. Well done, 47.
That works. That works too. Yeah, I wanted to push her, but you know what? At this point, no, gotta play it safe. I wanted to do the funny and push her, but I was scared those guys inside were gonna do something funny at me. And I don't know, see her or walk outside at like a really awkward moment, so I wanted to play it safe and shoot her. Sweet. We took care of the top dog. Now we need to go all the way down into the crypt. That's how you get up. Why is this door open? I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be open. That's weird. I feel like I remember that being locked. That girl was vaping.
The council meeting. You know what it's about?
Climate change. Sophia Washington is trying to persuade.
Hey, it's this guy.
Take care, sir.
Thanks, man. Yeah, how do I get down in the crypt again? How do you even get down there? No, I'm not gonna look. Is it out here?
Hey there. How you doing?
Oh. Don't question the guard running over with an axe. Get to the crypt from in here. Fire X leaving galley. Didn't even have a single crap to kill. Yeah, I was about to say that is really random, because isn't that like a first person shooter or something? Multiplayer only too? Thank you for clapping. People clap. Thank you for the clapping. Appreciate it. Oh, he's right in here. Next time. Don't throw that. Throw this instead. Oh my god, what happened? What the fuck, I heard a door open. That was creepy. Wait, you really didn't check that out?
Say what? What?
What? 8.5? Oh my god. Alright, well if you're gonna... Let me push that button. Well, if you're gonna be like that. You two gonna go back to talking? Come the fuck on.
Do it.
Someone's throwing things here. Moving in to investigate. Out.
Fucking finally. Wrecked. And now we put you to sleep.
Well done, 47. This will surely be a blow to the Syndicate.
That's what I wanted to do, but it took him for forever to get separated. Oh, there's a convenient box over here. This is the right guy, right? It was. I'll put them both in here, though. Right, and then it's just boat boy. Coming for you, boat boy. There's like 6 guards down here. Holy shit. Why is there so many? Oh my god, why is it packing with guards?
These guys are serious when they say they want to keep.
Sir?
Is he gonna go off by himself? Why are you just saluting for no fucking reason? What are you doing? They didn't even salute back to you. They hate you. It's bad, man. Yeah, but at least we can salute him back. Exactly, that's them. He's just like, come on, man, why are you saluting? What the fuck are you doing? Just stop. There's no need for that. Oh no, I don't want to kill him. He also has binoculars. Ah, this poor guy, man. No one wanted to salute him back, and he's also got binoculars. Holy boat. Did you see how high that just bounced up?
Sir, back off.
Could you guys turn around? Or are you guys broken? What the hell is going on? Why are they just standing there? What? Hey, hold the door for me. Hold the door. Thanks. How does that work?
You should get back to the safe house. I'll contact you later.
What the fuck, man? Walked in, axed the guy in the back, and those 2 boys in the computer didn't even suspect the thing. Oh, now that's also a sick title, Grim Reaper. I mean, we pretty much were with with the axe. Yep, last one in Miami. Here we go.
Excellent, 47. If you feel the urge to do a little interior decorating, please do so.
Why are you just saying that, Diana? Wait, what is that? An egg? What is that? What emoji is that? Holy, there's 9 you have to investigate? Jesus. Oh, excellent. Oh my god. I see now.
That actually is pretty funny.
I've provided new intel.
My entire basement turned red now. End of a meeting, smoker, dehydrated, glasses, hat, tattoo, and gray hair. Ooh, I badly want to bring that. Yes, bring that. Dump this. I dumped the screwdriver already, I think. Dump the crowbar, then get the screwdriver. That's also 2. That's also 2, right? Yeah. Yeah, this will do. Of course. It couldn't be more fitting, couldn't it? Ending the final one in Miami. Could bring a sniper. I only have 1. And that one is not silenced. I'm a bit scared of bringing that. Excuse me, sir. Yes. What's up? What's up, my good sir? Gotta clean my flamingo feet before we go in. Sorry, where's your briefcase? Oh. Can I hear you in some briefcases? Oh my god. You saw I misplaced my briefcase in a bush? Yeah, well, I am actually in need of one. Do you by any chance have a briefcase that can fit a sniper rifle? That can fit a 50 cal sniper rifle? And a suppressor? Yes. Oh, perfect. Well then. Then you've got to buy it right here. Then I'm interested. Go.
I'll be in touch when you reach your destination.
Be happy, don't fail while I'm gone. I'll try my best. Not to fail. But yeah, thought we got a Christie drift into Miami. I can fail all I want after. Okay, you got it. You got it, Boxy. As soon as you come back, we'll fail right away.
Good work, 47. We finally tracked down the Syndicate leader's whereabouts. However, we do not know the exact identity of the target, so you'll have to do some recon. But this is not going to be easy. Previous actions have put them on high alert, so you need to be tactical. To help you, we have the
I'm gonna throw the briefcase in the bush again. Throwing. Literally throwing, because I'm throwing the briefcase.
They are wearing a hat. We have further intel that informs us that the target suffers from dehydration and they smoke. Use these traits to your advantage.
Craggy crap.
Speed 47.
The most popular model. The 50 cal briefcase. Solid intel. We know that they drink water and like to eat food. Well, isn't that everyone? Gray hair check. Hat check. I don't think this guy has glasses. Oh wait, he's
No way.
Imagine being at the store. Hey, excuse me, sir. Salesperson.
No, I'm gonna run over here.
Hey, can you fit a 50 cal rifle in this? And a suppressor for it as well? Is that possible? Feels weird, man, sir. We only do serious sales here. Yeah, but I'm being very serious. I need this for my trip. I don't think this guy has glasses. What the fuck is he doing? No, he doesn't have glasses. Yes, just about to say. Oh, but maybe he's wearing contacts. Well, fucking guy picked a perfect day to wear contacts. He's not our guy then. Hat check. Gray hat check. Glasses check. I can't see a tattoo from here. Oh, he got laser eye surgery. Could you imagine? Yeah. A few weeks before this, he had laser eye surgery. Guy doesn't even need glasses anymore now. I'm pretty sure that's a tattoo. That is a tattoo. Excuse me, ma'am. Do you have a tattoo? What? Monk a gun. Get away from me, psycho. Okay. That might be one possible suspect. There's 9 suspects I have to go through. Yeah, there's 9. 9 that have to fit the description.
It's me. I'm here now. Ready to meet up with Sierra Knox over at the hotel. Yeah, after the race. I just gotta pick up the
I mean, you could actually. I don't think you really get punished for it. So yeah, I could actually just do that. Bup.
Have you seen my mascot outfit?
I think I lost him in the scuffle, but the real mascot is still over there. If I don't get them, I've got no evidence.
That can only be one.
Bye money. I don't know.
That can only be one. Pulls out shotgun. Can only be one. That can only be one true Flamingo. Shh. Go to your happy place. Right. Now we can move a bit more freely. So is this her? The one we were looking at? It is. Pretty sure that's the assassin right there. So she fits the description on the right, but she needs to smoke and drink water and attend what? A secret meeting. Oh, she's drinking water. She's drinking water, boys. She is drinking water. Now she needs to go for a smoke and attend a secret meeting. He's drinking water. Target confirmed. What a silly piece of intel. What do you think? He's drinking water. Target confirmed. Get him.
Remember, folks, that endurance racing is all about getting your car to cover as many Still some time to go, folks.
Is she smoking? She's smoking? Oh my gosh, she's smoking? This could possibly be her. I'll turn this way. Oh wait, I'm not allowed up here. Oh, and this is Mr. Moneybags.
Hey, wait, stop!
They stole his money and clothes and ran off. What the fuck, man? That's fucked up. He just fell down the stairs and lost his money and clothes in the process. Oh, lookout alerted. Oh.
The target is trying to get away. Move.
Got a blast. Rip run. How do you know where they're leaving to?
47, you need to act fast. Your target is almost gone.
They're right over there. I don't think I can get it in time. Yeah, no, there's no way. The prophet left.
The safe house. I'll be in touch.
Hold the phone. I mean, we could still.
Let me just repeat some ground rules for those of you new to the territory. You gotta cover as much ground as possible.
Oh my god, what's happening? Oh my god, the game crashed. Oh my god, DBD booted up. What the fuck? Holy shit, what just happened? Oh my god. What the hell? How did DBD all of a sudden boot up? Let's show that. What? No, you saw nothing. Mod check. Nothing happened. Oh man, what was that? DVD all of a sudden booted up? Fucking weird, man. That was weird. Right in the middle of the final run? Ah man, what a shame. What happens now? Where's it gonna put me now? Right before we did it? Oh, well, oh my god, how convenient. Oh my. How convenient DBD just suddenly booted up. How lucky for us.
We now know the current whereabouts of the Syndicate leader.
Wait, did I already open that? I did. I got the ball. I know, Knack.
I've provided you with new intel.
Doesn't count. I mean, who cares? It's a single player game.
Safe journey, 47.
Not like it's competitive. But there's a ranking system.
Welcome to Miami. We now know the leader's current location. However,
Is it all
as
the
we
same
don't know
stuff
the
again?
exact description, this means you will have to do your own recon.
It is.
But this is not going to be easy. Previous actions have put them on high alert, so you need to be tactical. As to why they are here, well, we know this. They are here for an exchange. As for the little identification we have on them, we know that they have grey hair. They are sporting a tattoo. They are wearing glasses and wearing a hat. As for characteristics,
They are wearing a hat.
Suffers from dehydration and they smoke. I hope these tells can be used to your advantage.
This is the guy that couldn't. Yeah, this is the guy that couldn't decide on what burger he wanted. I'm guessing it's just the same person again. Right, let's do this. Wait, is this person, isn't it? No, it's not you. Oh wait, I want to go into the parking plot. Guess we'll just go this way. Who's this? That's the target.
I'm here now, ready to meet up with
Quick! Can you meet her on the thing? In the underground path. And throw the Pokeball at her. Oh, wait. That's not her. She's all the way over there. I've been more than enough time then. You throw the Pokeball at her. Alright, let's see here. We throw the Pokeball and then we just fucking leg it. Run. Holy shit, she went flying.
You eliminated the leader. Get back to the safe house. I'll be in touch.
We'll work this out.
Hello, Flamingo brother.
Can you do me a favor?
There's a crate here. Anything useful? Oh, money. Fuck. Psst, a nice little tip on the way out. Hey, get me the fuck out of here. Please don't snipe me, assassin. Please, I'm back at you. Brr. Thank you. Nice. I finally get to see what happens when you finish this.
Impressive, 47. You have single-handedly managed to defeat an entire network of syndicates. You are truly making a difference.
Thank you, Diana. Wait, you did? Oh my god. The same thing happened to you. Wait, how did yours fail? Was it also with the target leaving? Was it something else? Oh, what tile assassin? Oh, then we're even, I suppose. Then we're even. Because, man, if I have to be honest, that is a fucking silly way of losing. Like that, the way I just lost. That is a silly fucking way of losing, that the target escapes like that. And it was right, and it was the one we already had, like, suspicion on. That is a silly way of losing, and but the exit was so close to her. That is a silly way. Oh, and the guard hurt the briefcase, and yeah. Yeah, okay. Then I can imagine what happened after that. Yeah, you see, that's also just a silly way of losing like that. Just like, come on, man. This is a silly way of throwing the whole thing. I would have accepted the loss if I died, like if I got shot or something. But them escaping like that, come on, man, that's a silly. That's a silly way of like 5 hours of progress going down the drain. Practice speed. Exotic music. Antique furniture. No cheating this all. Sure. Since now I've actually done it.
Beating the campaign has caused a serious dent to the criminal organizations. You have earned a break. Rest and enjoy. Let me know when you're ready for your next assignment.
Did you... Yep. Completing campaign. You have successfully defeated the Syndicate and complete the campaign. Congratulations. When you're ready to continue, select the campaign among the followers by the remote map. What did you give me, Diana? Oh, well, we got our sniper back, and... Jesus, this is one hell of an upgrade, huh? Hardcore mode, new unlock. Yeah, you're fucking funny if you think I'm gonna do that game. I can much be unlocked and cannot be talked alone using the laptop. Oh, I don't like the crosshair. I want the old sniper back. Actually, even though this is like a giga upgrade, but I don't like the crosshair. How about no? Exactly. When it comes to hardcore. How about no? Wait, what happened? Why and who and how do I have 41k all of a sudden? The Phoenix. Maybe have to patch it. Yeah. Maybe if they make it, maybe when they make it a bit more balanced. What the hell? This is nice and cozy. Ambrose vibes. I've still yet to play that map. That's enough. 47. Let's go see what else we got. Well, still only missing one duck. Oh yeah, we got exotic music. We gotta listen to that. This is exotic music. And the painting load in? Thank you. The fuck is this music? $10 free hardcore. Monka W. I don't know about that one. Monka Shake. Ooh, that's a nice one. Anything else that I got? Practice space. Wait, isn't that where we just were? I already had that though. What? Preferably this decade. I want the classic music again. There we go. Got 41k. Time to gamble it all in the stock market. Oh yeah, we still haven't done round 3. You still down for a round 3? Hardcore freelancer? Yes.